like this. I'm going to ask each of our people a few questions, and then we'll allow for individual one-on-one or individual questions at that time. Once we're done with the program, we can do one-on-one breakouts. So, you know, obviously if you have questions specifically for someone you'd like separately, we can do that in the second half of the press conference. I'm also going to invite two of our coaches up to talk. One's still coming through processing, so once he's here, I'll bring him up. But we'll start with one of the coaches, and then we'll go to the individual athletes. So I'd like to start off with our national coach, Zeke Jones, who was an Olympic medalist, world champion as an athlete, and has led our program since 2009. Coach Jones, I'd like you to talk about the goals and expectations for your team when you come up, and also talk about the continued improvement each year of this quad for this group of wrestlers. Coach Zeke Jones.
Thanks. You know, I'd say one is, you know, the goals and expectations of the program are always high. It's the American Wrestling Program. We have a tremendous history and tradition within our program and have had a lot of success in the Olympic Games. You know, I think individually, these guys all tell you each one of them wants to be a gold medalist and is capable of it. You know, of course, we're winding down in the final days of our training and tapering into the tournament the week after. But you know, I'd say the expectations and the goals are high. You know, we want to be the best team in the world. It's pretty simple. You know, by no means we are the favorite. I'd say the Russians are certainly the favorite. They've won the last several world championships, and you know, they're certainly the team to beat. I would also say Iran and Azerbaijan certainly are equally as good, and I think on those 3 days it's going to be important that we wrestle well to be able to compete with you know, with those countries. What was your other question, Gary?
The improvement of the program throughout the quad.
Yeah, I kind of say teasingly that we had 7 freshmen in the lineup in 2009. You know, 7 first-timers at the World Championships. It was a total program reset. You know, we hired a new coaching staff and it was a completely new group of wrestlers. And I think since 2009, now we have some veterans in the lineup. You know, 4 medalists in our lineup right now, and certainly 7 guys that are all very capable of winning at this level. I think each year we've made improvement. You know, 10 was not a very good World Championships for us, but the body of work of that year was very good. And then I think it really culminated in 2011 when we were in the hunt to win the team championship last year. And I just think we're going to ride that momentum. I think we've learned a lot as a team. Individually, each of them have learned a lot. And I think, you know, we're at that place. If you look at the top 6 to 8 countries in the world, there's a convergence amongst 4 or 5 countries where Russia had separated themselves 4 and 8 years ago. But you'll find recently that if you look at the top 8 finishes individually of the 4 countries, those teams have all converged right here at the Olympic Games, where, you know, Russia's team has, you know, although they're certainly the favorites, they're probably the weakest I've seen them in a long time, where our program is surging and other countries are surging too. And I think it's a critical and a pivotal moment in wrestling, not only just for the Olympics, but over the next 4 years. I think you'll find that there could be a new leader in the world, and we want to capitalize on that moment. We certainly want to achieve our goals here at the Olympic Games, but also it could be a very important time in being able to do that. And, you know, I think just maybe last thing is that the improvement has been good, and it's a result of a lot of things. One is these 7 guys up here taking the leadership role and doing a super job of being focused on the path, committed to the plan, and doing the job. And our team leader, Mike Novogratz, who has been absolutely instrumental in our success. And so there's no question we couldn't be here without him. And we got a great coaching staff too, and that leadership's coming from John Smith, Mark Manning, and Lou Roselli. So I think it's kind of that eye of the storm. Everything's coming together right now, and I think we're at that place where we can do some damage August 10th to the 12th.
Any questions for Coach Jones at this time? Microphone, please.
Zeke Jones from the Associated Press. You referenced the proud history of the freestyle program, but only one medal in Beijing. I guess coming here, how much of it is a thought or a focus that you want to get back to that point where you're bringing home multiple medals?
Well, it's all our focus. It's pretty simple. We want to, each guy is capable and wants to win a gold medal, and our hope is that happens. But I get it, and I'm realistic. I know that we want to win as many medals as possible. And if you look at the history of the tradition, 1992 Olympic team won 6 out of 10 medals, 60% hit rate. I think that's, we're very capable of that. If we can get into that number, I'd like to think that we're at a place where it's one of the finest teams in American history. But, they got to put it out on the mat and put it on the line, and they got to make it happen. And it's going to, as you know, it's going to be tough out there. It's going to get to tough moments, and we're going to have to seize each one of them to get those medals.
Any other questions at this point for Coach Jones? Thanks, Zeke.
Yeah.
Up next for us is our Olympic coach, John Smith. John was a 2-time Olympic champ and 4-time world champion as a wrestler, and he's coached past Olympic teams. And he's been our world team coach with this group of athletes all through the quadrennium, the last 3 world championships, and now with the Olympic Games. I'm going to have Coach Smith come up and answer a question or two from mine. John, this will be my question for you to work with. You know what it takes to win Olympic golds, and what will this group of athletes need to do to get to the top of the podium when they're out there wrestling? And then also talk a little bit about how the training's gone and what's next for them in Belarus when we finish up here. Coach John Smith.
What's that? Thanks, Gary. Like Gary said, I've been with these guys several years, and I think the one thing from this point forward, I think a lot of them has had very good preparation leading up to the event. I think the last couple of weeks here is real important that they remain focused and enjoy as much as the Olympics they can, but remember why they're here. I think that you get steered in the wrong direction real quickly, but I do like the fact that we're going to Belarus and training for a week and putting in another week of training. So we're still in the training phase from the standpoint of we just can't sit down and wait. So our focus needs to be on that training.
How about Belarus? Is there anything specific you and the coaches look to do with that group there?
Well, like I said, I don't think it's a week where we're tapering yet, but putting in good two days and really focusing on the small little detail that helps you make a difference in your matches. As we know, freestyle wrestling is 2-minute periods, and in that 2-minute period, there can be a lot of action. But the guys that are scoring the points, finishing tough, hard single legs, scrambles, guys that win.
Any questions at this point for Coach Smith? Thanks, John. As with everyone else, they'll all be available at the end. Coach Jones mentioned our team leader, Mike Novogratz, who's done a great job for the sport of wrestling. And I don't know if you heard about the Beat the Streets event we had in New York City or in Times Square for the last 2 years. Had a special wrestle-off there, which Coleman Scott won to make the team. Mike was instrumental in that. And he's also one of the stewards and founders of Living the Dream Medal Fund, where if one of these guys and our gals, all 17 of our wrestlers here, win a gold medal, they'll get $250,000 based on being able to succeed here at the Olympic Games. And Mike was a leader in getting that organized. I'd just like Mike to say something quickly about the Living the Dream Medal Fund and just the commitment the wrestling community has made to these athletes. Mike?
Well, geez, I don't think any of these guys are up here because they want the $250,000, but I'm sure they wouldn't mind it. We started the fund 4 years ago with the idea of how do you inject a little more energy into the sport. A lot of our guys who are doing one cycle wrestling were going off to MMA. MMA's got a lot of energy in their sport and are paying big money, and so we wanted to send a message to our wrestlers that the community cared about them. It wasn't about a bunch of rich Wall Streeters trying to put a pot of money together. It was about trying to get the community together, grassroots donations all the way up. And so we've had a grassroots campaign that has raised money for the fund. Al Bevilacqua has been our spearhead fundraiser. And then there are seven on stewards that, after that money runs out, pay the difference. There are, I think, four of them in London watching it, and I think we want to be the kind of poorest happy guys here. And so we're hoping lots of medals and that the fund, spends a lot of money.
Any questions for Mike? Thank you, Mike. We'll go in weight class order, which is a tradition in wrestling, starting here from the right. At 55 kilograms, a native of Pensacola, Florida, started at the University of Oklahoma and currently lives in Norman, Oklahoma, Sam Hazewinkel. Sam, your dad and your uncle were both two-time Olympic wrestlers in Greco-Roman. How long has the Olympics been a goal of yours, and how did you feel when you achieved that goal and joined your relatives on an Olympic team?
Well, it's been a dream as long as I can remember, being born into a family that has that kind of wrestling tradition and history. I played with my dad's ring, his Olympic ring, when I was a kid, put on his jacket, ran around the house. I thought every kid was doing that. I thought every kid wanted to be an Olympian when they grew up. Fireman, police officer, that stuff never crossed my mind. And so it's always been there. I do want to say thanks, my dad. He did a great job never putting a shadow on me. I never felt like I needed to get to that level, to be up there with my dad and my uncle. I never felt like I was an apple that fell far from the tree. And then to be able to reach that Olympic team and reach that goal, and join them and add to that tradition I can't put it in words. You really can't. There was so much excitement. I think after I won, I was just bouncing around the mat like an idiot. But I was loving it. I watched the video now and I'm just like, man, I should have done something cool. But you can't. You got that much emotion going on at one time, you tend to just bounce around.
So at the last Olympic cycle, you were in Greco-Roman wrestling. You took second in the Olympic trials. You'd done very well in that, won national titles, things of that sort. And then you switched to freestyle. Now, what was the reason for that decision, and what was the key for you to successfully go from one style of wrestling to the other and make an Olympic team?
Well, there was a whole lot of reasons that went into that, but I'll give you a couple of them. One, in Alway, I tried out for Greco, and I went and lived at the Olympic Training Center for a year and trained there. We thought that was the best thing to do, was go there and train. And my wife was in medical school, so she had to stay in Oklahoma, and we were living in two different places and just trying to live the dream. And there was a lot going on, and there's a lot of stress there that at the time didn't really realize. And I think that was part of it, getting to train at home, be with my family, support group. I think that really helped a lot. Also, I always wanted to try freestyle. Growing up, I did all three styles: freestyle, folk style, which is what we do in the U.S., and Greco-Roman. And my dad wrestled Greco. That's what he made the Olympic team on. And I always excelled at it, so I always did it. But I always had that, just wanted to give it a try at freestyle. After taking third in 04 Olympic trials and second in 08 Olympic trials, I just felt like it was a good time to try something else, to kind of get that blood flowing again, get a little fire underneath me. And it was fun to climb the ladder, get back up toward the top. It gave me a little energy, and it allowed me to kind of work on my mental game. I think that was the other big part of making the team, was just kind of getting over that mental hump, of getting over those second place finishes.
So anyone have a question at this point for Sam Hazewinkel? Right over there, please.
Hey Sam, Tom Post, NBC News. You've only been wrestling freestyle for 2 years, and yet you're at the Olympics. Can you talk a little bit about what you had to relearn and the difference between the two styles of wrestling?
The difference is Greco's just upper body, not allowed to use your legs, can't shoot on the legs, can't trip, anything like that. So it's a lot more, a little bit more of a chess match in Greco, and when things happen, it explodes. And freestyle's got a lot more weapons to it. You can go high, you can go low, you can use setups, and I really like that. I'm a fan of the action, and as much as I loved Greco and I was good at it, I really like the action of freestyle, being able to set up upper body stuff by going low, and being able to go upper body and get them scared of that and then shooting on them. And So there was a lot to learn. It's a different style. There was a lot of little things I had to get back, but freestyle is a lot like our college style in the U.S. and so I've done it my whole life. It didn't take too much to get back. I should have apparently made a change a long time ago. Maybe been on the second team by now, but I'm glad I did it, obviously.
Any other questions at this point for Sam? Thank you, Sam. We move up to 60 kilograms, a native of Waynesburg, Pennsylvania, won an NCAA title at Oklahoma State, currently lives in Stillwater, Oklahoma, Coleman Scott. Coleman, to make this team, you had to win the Olympic trials, wait a little bit while another wrestler qualified our country for the Olympic Games, and then win a big wrestle-off in Times Square. How difficult was that challenge, and how did it help prepare you for the next challenge, which is the Olympics?
Definitely a different challenge, you know. After the trials, when we were all walking up on the mat and they were announcing me as Olympian, I was just announced as the Olympic trials champion. And it was a different feeling that, you know, I saw what they were feeling, and I couldn't have that feeling yet. So it was definitely a tough road, you know, and I just took it in stride. It is what it is, and I'll just go do what I have to do to make the team. And that was the plan the whole time. So I just took it and went with it and did what I could, and just worked hard every day and got better every day, and just listened to my coaches and did what they say. They were all winners and they won at the highest level, so I just put all my trust in them, and they led me the right way.
Do you feel that tough road might have gotten you a little more game ready for this?
Yeah, I mean, I think it has. You know, I had to train all the way up through June, whenever it was, which was a couple months after the trials, so it definitely gave me, you know, some of that training, that hard training camp, and but it, you know, I felt like, you know, I think everybody's ready at this time. I don't know how you wouldn't be for the biggest tournament in the world. So.
And just a quick follow-up, Oklahoma State has produced numerous Olympic champions, Olympic medalists, world medalists. How is being part of that program and the legacy of the great Cowboys before you helping you in your quest to be the Olympic champ?
It was awesome. I mean, you know, went to school there, and you know, it was what I always wanted to do was go to school there, win a national championship for Coach Smith, and you know, I always had dreams of being an Olympian and an Olympic champ, actually. And you know, I just want to. It's an honor to be mentioned with those guys, but you know, I haven't really done anything yet. You know, my goal is to win, not just to be on the team. I mean, all my coaches have won it, so you know, I don't think I'm in that category or anything yet. And you know, that's what I look forward to, is to being able to be mentioned with them.
Any questions for Coleman? Thank you, Coleman. We move up to 66 kilograms, a native of Clearwater, Florida, started Oklahoma University, and now lives in Norman, Oklahoma, Jared Frayer. Jared, you had some great news right before heading off to London with the birth of your second child. I mean, originally you thought that the birth would happen while you were here competing, so could you give us your thoughts about being a father at this time and then coming out here to wrestle at the Olympics?
Yeah, I think the first time I was a father was 2 years ago, and that kind of brought me back into the sport. Just allowed me to kind of put things in perspective, and she's the reason I started wrestling again, really, after a year of kind of pseudo retirement. And the second one, Beckett, she was supposed to be born August 2nd, and we were going to be in Deuce on August 2nd. We were going to be in Belarus, so we were going to be looking forward to Skyping that and doing that whole scenario, which we didn't know how it was going to go with Wi-Fi in Belarus. But sure enough, we were at training camp and got the call and text message during our simulation tournament, and I got my butt back home after a little conversation I was joking with some people, talking father advice to John Smith in the waiting room, and in the simulation tournament we're having at the training center. I'm having this, well, how close are contractions? Well, you got time, you'll just get home later on tonight. And so got home, and sure enough, the next day, 6 a.m., I got home at midnight, 6 a.m., I'm taking her to the hospital, and she has it at 1 o'clock. So it was a physical simulation tournament. The on Friday, and then it was a little kind of an anxiety simulation on Saturday. So I'm pretty simulated for this part of my life. So yeah, it's exciting. It definitely puts things in perspective. You know, I know I'm going to go out there and do great things because that's what I think I expect as a coach and a father, and I want to do that myself.
Now, people may have noticed when I introduced both you and Sam that you're both Floridians. You came from Florida, and then you both wrestled at Oklahoma, and now you live in Norman. So you guys have kind of a shared journey here. Could you talk a little bit about what it's like to have a teammate and a friend of yours that are on the team with you right now?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I mean, a lot of similarities in our stories. A lot of second place finishes, both from Florida, went to Oklahoma. I think the situation that we have at Oklahoma, Coach Cody's allowed us to really trust in our training, trust in our bodies, and do things mentally that maybe we hadn't done in the past. You know, I'm not speaking for Sam, but I think that's kind of both our mindsets. OU's just it's a great place where we spent our years in college. I went away for 10 years. I can't believe it's been 10 years since I graduated, but 10 years and did some coaching and got a lot of great experience, and just excited to be back. And like I said, Mark Cody, the head coach at OU, has allowed us to kind of mentally trust in our bodies, trust in our training, and get us both to levels that we haven't been before. So just going to use that training, that confidence in ourselves and our environment to do great things on August 10th and 12th.
Any questions for Jared at this point? First over here.
Hi, Jared. Bryce Miller from the Des Moines Register. We talked about Skype. What's it like in this Olympic experience to this kind of cocktail of coaching you guys get? You know, Zeke's experience internationally, John Smith, you know, legendary international results, and I know you worked with Tom Brands. What do all those guys bring to the table, and how do you draw from all that experience, the kind of different techniques, and how does that work for you guys?
Well, the funny thing is I've been kind of the training partner or alternate for a lot of years, and kind of been the guy behind the guy, coached by these guys. And so I've kind of been in this process. I know what to expect, and it is. It's you take what you know is going to help you at this level. You know what's going to help you, and what maybe you kind of put in the back pocket and let it kind of go in one ear out the other. And you know, it's an awesome opportunity to really pick the brains of some of the greatest coaches / athletes that have been in the sport. So you know, you do what you can. I was under kind of the Iowa regime for 3 years, and took a lot from that as an athlete and as a coach. And so I feel like that allowed me in the past. My gas tank was never. I think technically I was the best, but I couldn't push myself the whole time. And now I'm at that level, and now I'm pulling back and really fine-tuning some technical issues, and not better coaches to use to help you with that. And like Coach Smith said, we have a week and a half to really get better, and I think I get better quickly. I've done this a long time, and there's going to be some issues that I'm going to go through in this next 9 days that they're going to help me win this gold medal, and so that's what I take from these guys. Their confidence. You know, you got a guy coming up, you know, in your corner, who's a 6-time world champ. He expects great things, and you expect that of yourself. So it rubs off on you, and just excited to go to battle.
We had a second question.
Yeah. Yeah. Jim Slater with AFP. I just wanted to ask you a little about how far you got down the road with the plans for the Skype, and being there in Belarus, and expecting that's the way it was going to go. And then how's Mom doing at home? Has she got good support staff? Are you in touch on a regular basis? Do you Skype now to see the baby?
Yeah, most definitely. We had the doctor was ready. She had done it before. Oklahoma, Norman is a I guess kind of military suburb, so they've done the I'm going to London, or I'll be in Minsk, and some of these guys are in Afghanistan for a year without seeing them. So it's been done before, and we were fired up to do it. She was getting induced, so we knew she was getting induced at midnight on the 2nd. So 8 o'clock on the 3rd, which is an 8-hour time difference between Norman and Minsk. That was going to be my day. That was going to be day off. I'm watching what's going on and figuring this out as we go. So we were pretty up to date on what we're going to do. Baby and Mom are great. Nicole and Beckett are back home. got an 18-month-old that's running around, and her family's there, my family's all coming over here, so it's a great situation, and she's well taken care of and healthy and happy, so couldn't be happier.
Any other questions at this point for Jared?
Do we know about that?
These guys, I was joking all these guys that I was going to give them some some birth control because we're going to watch on the big screen.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jake.
So I knew when I'm blushing here. To his left, we have a 74-kilogram wrestler. He's a native of Sicklerville, New Jersey, won 2 NCAA titles for the University of Nebraska, currently lives in Lincoln, Nebraska, and is the reigning world champion, Jordan Burroughs. Jordan, after you finished your college career, you jumped right into freestyle wrestling and had instant success, winning every event you've entered since you ended your high school, your college career, including the World Championships. Why do you believe you were able to make such a quick transition to success in freestyle?
I would say I have an extremely high level of confidence. You know, I've wrestled for a number of years. I was successful at a number of levels, so I expect to win every time I step out there on the mat. You know, when you reach a new plateau or a new level, you've seen these guys for a number of years. You think these guys are great. This guy was a world champ. This guy was an Olympic champ. But I feel as though the only reason I wasn't at the time was because I hadn't reached that level yet. You know, so I wanted to win, wanted to be the best, and my high school coach always told me to be the best. You have to be the best. So every time I step out there on the mat, I expected to win, and I want to be the best guys in the world.
Now, since winning the world title, has it surprised you with some of the attention you've received for that achievement? And how do you stay focused on the task of continuing to improve in order to stay ahead of the competition that's now gunning for you?
I love the attention. You know, I wish we had Wi-Fi right now so I could get on Twitter. But I'm excited. You know, I'm excited to be in this position I'm in. I love the leadership role that I've embraced over the years. You know, I was the best guy on my high school team, best guy on my college team, and I'm excited to be amongst a great group of guys. So right now I'm just trying to stay mentally focused. Like Coleman said, I'm not an Olympic gold medalist yet. So right now I'm just visualizing that day, August 10th, when I go out there executing at my highest level, wrestling hard, and hopefully being an American hero very soon.
Any questions at this point for Jordan? Back there first, please.
Hey Jordan, Tom Post, NBC News. You sustained a pretty substantial knee injury a couple of years ago, and can you kind of talk about how your knee's doing now, and have you changed the way you approach every match because of that?
For sure. You know, I had torn my PCL and LCL on my left knee in 2009. I still remember the day, December 19, 2009. It was against Central Michigan, a guy named Steve Brown, but it was an extremely tough injury, you know. I didn't know how I'll feel coming back from that injury. A lot of people told me I wouldn't be as fast or as strong or as quick. So it was definitely a low point in my wrestling career, but it basically just gave me the hunger back. You know, I was a national champ in 2009, so I was kind of complacent where I was in my career. Thought everything would come easy. So taking that year off gave me that hunger back, that fire and desire to be the best guy in the world. And it just shows me how swiftly and easily something that I love so much and done for so long can be taken from me. So basically, I'm just trying to seize the moment right now, enjoy what God has given to me, and continue to work hard and hopefully be an Olympic gold medalist.
So,
Jordan, is the only reigning world champion on the team. There's a lot of pressure on you for this cycle, but instead of sort of running away from it, you've chosen to embrace it. And I guess I wonder, what's your mentality behind that, between running right into that and saying, hey, I accept that role?
I don't know. I guess I just have to address them. You know, it's either you can run from your fears or address them and make them your strengths. So for me, I don't want to look at it as a pressure situation. I already hold myself to a high standard, so I expect to win gold medal every time I step on the mat. So for me, I want to be a leadership. I want to have that leadership role in this team. I want these guys to look up to me. I'm the first day, so I want to get the ball rolling for the rest of the team. And it's easy to run away from your problems, but it's a lot harder to face them, look them in the eye, and go out there and wrestle as hard as I can. So a lot of people expect me to win. I expect me to win. My family expects me to win. So gotta get it done. Represent not only myself but the whole country.
Any other questions at this point for Jordan? Thank you, Jordan. To his immediate left is already 4-kilogram athlete, native of the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area, two-time NCAA champion at Northwestern, now lives in Ann Arbor, Michigan, Jake Herbert. Jake, in 2009, you won a world silver medal at your first world championships on the senior level. What do you feel it'll take for you to get back on that podium here and reach the top spot for you to be able to win that?
It'll take me going out there and getting my hand raised every match. It's a lot of hard work, you know. It's been a roller coaster. You know, I was expecting after that silver medal finish in 09 to get a world title in 10, you know, a world title in 11, and then finish off with the gold in 12 here. The middle didn't go exactly as planned, but I'm still going to end it the same way. So that's what's really important to me.
Could you talk a little bit about the decision you made this year to move up to train in Ann Arbor and follow Coach Sean Barnett, Donnie Pritzlaff, and the staff up there? And how important was that move to help you get to this Olympic team and help carry you through to that Olympic goal?
It was a really easy decision. I mean, all these guys can tell you the same thing. I mean, when you're training with a college team, those college kids aren't training to beat the Russian, they're not training to beat the Iranian or the Azerbaijani. They're training to win, you know, a national title. They're training to beat the best guys in the country. I'm trying to beat the best guys in the world, so when I moved to Michigan, it meant that I had a team to train with again. We had 7 guys there training freestyle full-time, and that was the big difference to me, because then when I go for my lifts, when I go for my workouts, I had another guy who had a similar goal to me, and it was a great experience. You know, it also brought in Donnie Pritzlaff, it brought in Sean Barnett for coaching, and Andy Rovat as well. So my coaching got better, my training partners got better. I had a team to actually work out with, and I got paid on top of it. So that was it was a really easy decision, and it was a great one.
Any questions at this point for Jake? Right back there.
Sorry, I'm not trying to steal his news conference. I just get the sense that you're the jokester on the team.
Me?
Yeah. How does that lighthearted approach, how does that help you? And when do you flip that switch to get serious about match and the business at hand?
I'd say about 3 or 4 minutes before the match, you know, takes place. I only have enough seriousness in me for about a 6-minute match. God bless you, Mike. And I don't know, it's fun. I mean, we go to practice in sweatpants. You know, I'm trained to beat up my boss, and I'm pretty sure I can almost take Zeke now. He's quick, but got a little bit of weight and size on him. You know, we get to hang out with legendary Olympians and gold medalists all the time. This is the greatest thing in the world, you know, and we're the toughest sport there is. I mean, bring out the 7 basketball players, even though they're bigger than us. You know, Tervel will take down 5 of them. And Sam will get another one, you know, and then Frayer's got another one, and we're good. I don't have to do anything, you know. So it's a lot of fun. You know, it's the Olympic Games here. It's a great experience. You got to keep things light, and but when it's go time, when it's down to that mat, you know, basically the mentality I step out there with is, if they want to win, they're gonna have to kill me, and you know, I'm still breathing, and I'll guarantee I'll be breathing after London's done, so that'll mean my hand should be raised.
Other question? Luke?
Yep. Jake, the $250,000 carrot that's out there if you win gold, do you think that might be something that'll be more influential, say, for kids coming up looking at Rio and 16 and down the road, or do you think it's already something that's influenced, I guess, folks to stay in the sport?
Oh, it definitely helps a lot. I mean, Mike and everybody else, and Zeke and everyone that's behind that's huge, because you get an MMA contract and you get one of those big fights. I mean, that's like $250,000 right there. You know, we're not all in this for the $250,000. We're in it for the gold medal. That's just the bonus to the icing that comes with it all. But I mean, that's huge. I mean, my 4 years of work now that I've done, I get that $250,000. You know, help me out the math, Mike. How much is that a year? 4 years.
62.5.
So you got some in 2009 already, so you have to add that in, right?
Exactly. So it's that's big. I mean, that would have been like a full-time job as being a manager of Subway or something like that. But instead, I chose to go out there and break some necks and crush some dreams. So it is really big though, because you know, I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna take some knowledge from Mike. I'm gonna invest that wisely and make my 250 into something larger that I can hopefully donate back and help out the rest of these guys here.
Anything else for Jake at this point? Back here.
Hi Jake, Tom Clark, Olympic News Service. You do seem like an absolute joke. It's quite funny. You're quite a funny guy. Can you tell us about the process of flipping that switch 3 or 4 minutes before the
match?
Yeah.
It just comes down to, and everybody here does it. It comes down to thinking of what you've done to prepare for that match. You know, I've been through a lot of ups and downs this year. I mean, like I said, every single person up here on this stage has been hurt, has broken a bone, has gotten surgery, has missed, you know, a month worth of practices just to heal something up. And I start thinking of, you know, same with all these guys. We've all missed parties. We've all missed events. He was about to miss the birth of his child for this, man. And if that's not sacrifice, I don't know what it is. But you start to think about that stuff and what you've given up. And then you start to look at that guy across the mat and you start to think what he's trying to take away from you. You know, he's out there. He didn't work as hard as me. You know, I know for a fact he wasn't up at 6 a.m. He wasn't hitting the bike till he puked. He wasn't hitting those weights hard. He wasn't as dedicated as I am. He doesn't want it as much as I do. And it starts to excite me. It starts to get my blood pressure up. It starts to get my the hair standing on the back of my neck. You know, it gets my heart beating and it gets me ready to go out for war and prepare, because this guy's trying to take what's mine. You know, that gold medal's not his. That's my gold medal. I have to go out there and take it. And I've worked to prove that. I've worked harder. I want it more. I'm dedicated more, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes in that mat to get it. And that flips the switch. And I mean, nobody's getting my way. Referee, you know, their coaches, whatever it is I have to go through, whatever it is I have to do, my body's going to do it to get that goal. So that's the mentality that all these killers up here have. You know?
I'm ready to go.
Yeah. So that's how you flip it, and then, you know, if you also have a hat, you can turn it backwards.
Any other questions for Jake? Okay, well, I'm going to confuse you because the next guy's a Jake too. So now wrestling at 96 kilograms, a native of Bakersfield, California. Won NCAA champion for Iowa State, now lives in State College, Pennsylvania, Jake Varner. This is Jake 2. Okay. Jake, as one of your college coaches was Olympic champion Cale Sanderson, and after you graduated at ISU, you moved out to Penn State to train with him full time. Could you talk about the influence Coach Sanderson has made in your quest to be an Olympic champion?
I knew coming into college, once I met him and hung out with him and stuff like that, I knew that he was going to get me to where I needed to be. Luckily enough for me, he was my weight, wrestled my weight, won 4 NCAA titles undefeated, and then Olympic gold. So I knew I was going to be able to train with the guy. I got him right after he won his gold too, so I took a lot of beatings from him as well. So you kind of learn from that, but I knew once I signed with Iowa State that he was going to be a part of my my dream and stuff like that, and I was going to stick with him the whole time. And when he took that job at Penn State, I was happy for him, and I finished up my career at Iowa State, and then moved right out there, I think, the day after graduation. Actually, I took off and moved out there and started back training again. So he's just a big part of my success. I owe a lot to him, and a lot to these coaches here as well. You know, they're all a big part, and all have helped me along the way.
Now, last year at the World Championships, it was your second World Tournament, and you came home with a World Bronze medal. Could you talk about how winning the medal there helped you in your confidence and your training and experience coming into the chance of a lifetime to be an Olympic champ here?
Yeah, I don't know if I call winning a bronze. I don't know if you ever win a bronze. That's never the most fun thing to do. I think I lost the gold is what happened, and you know, ended up with a bronze, and you know, life goes on. That's what happens, and it just wasn't my day. And but that just fuels the fire even more, makes you hungrier. And you know, this is the big year. This is the one everybody wants, and this is the one I want. I've been training for this for a long time, and you know, might as well be me. You know, I train hard every time I step on the mat. I know I'm going to win, and that's the mentality I have. And just think the other guy's kind of crazy for getting on the mat with me. So, you know, that kind of just fuels it more, taking third place, because third place kind of, that sucks. So.
Have any questions for Jake at this point? Thanks, Jake. The far end is our 120-kilogram wrestler, native of Arlington, Texas, competed at the University of Nebraska-Kearney, now lives in Columbus, Ohio, Tervel Dlagnev. Tervel, your journey here to London may not have been similar to some of your teammates and other guys that have been there. You came out of Texas, which wasn't considered a great wrestling state, wrestled at D2 level, although you were champion there twice, and now you're at one of the regional training centers in Columbus, Ohio. Could you talk about when you realized that you had Olympic dreams, and then when you realized that you were as good as anyone else in the world?
Well, I was, I mean, my personality is kind of like anytime I pick anything up, I'm immediately like, I want to be the best at this. So when I started wrestling relatively late, but I was like, what's the best you can do in this? Olympic champ, I want to be that. So obviously that's when the dream started, like, yeah, I want to be the best at this ever. But it became an expectation probably sophomore year of college when I went out to the training center. The world team member at the time, Tolly Thompson, he kind of took me as one of his training partners, and I, did the whole training phase with the world team and, competed with those guys, and I felt like, it's something I could do, that's something I wanted to do. I love the sport, so I just wanted to keep continuing. So that's probably when it happened.
Now, going into the Olympics, I mean, you've wrestled a lot of these top competitors that are in the field for the last number of years. You've been a world medalist yourself. You beat the two-time world Olympic champ, Tamazov, last year at the Worlds. Your thoughts about what it'll take for you to beat all of them this time and come back as a gold medalist? Because you have experience against most of these competitors.
I mean, to simplify it down, bottom line is I just have to show up that day. I have to wrestle well that day, and obviously some things have to go your way to be a world Olympic champ. But I think that's the plan. That's why we wrestle every day, is to try to build that consistency. I mean, it's hard to be 100% consistent, but the closer we can get to that, that's perfection is the goal, and so that's why we train every day. That's why I go to all these tournaments. That's why I keep that's why I like putting it on the line over and over to try to keep getting better. I feel like I'm the type of wrestler that gets a lot out of practice. I feel like I get better every day, and I enjoy the process, and so I feel like that's putting it all together here would be great, but yeah, it's it's going to take a lot of things feeling good that day. But bottom line is, I think that I'm at that level where I'm I can be consistent. I am consistent, and I expect to be the gold medalist.
Any questions at this point for Tervel? Sir?
Hey, Tervel. Most of the athletes here in London started in their sport at a very young age. You, however, waited until you were in high school to get into wrestling. What prompted you? Was it a dare, or just how'd you get into it?
Yeah, well, I don't know if I waited till I didn't expect. I didn't do any sports. It was actually I wanted to get in shape. I was kind of chubby, never did anything, and I just kind of committed to this diet. I was gonna go full bore, and I always watched the wrestlers working out, and I kind of voiced to my PE teacher. I was like, I think if I joined the wrestling team, that'd be a good organized way to keep me accountable for workouts, and so I'd get my workouts in, and so it was kind of like, so then he told it to the wrestling coach. The wrestling coach came and grabbed me out of PE, and that first year I actually just wrestled, just wanted, I complained when my coach would ask me to go on this wrestling trip and wrestle. I'd be like, no, I'm gonna miss lifts, can't do that, So it was more of a. But that summer after my sophomore year, I I fell in love with the sport, and so that's really when I kind of started getting passionate about the sport itself.
Any other questions for Tervel at this time? Okay, so.